I know I have listeners here from all over the US, but my husband and I just happen to be back home right now in the area where we grew up, small town here in Ohio. And this week, our hometown got hit with some really sudden heavy news, which is naturally whetting my notes for this week's topic. We lost someone we went to school with. Her name is Erin, and she was 45. And if you're listening from here in our hometown and you knew Erin, you already know what I'm about to say. And that is, that girl showed up. Gosh, everywhere. Seriously. Erin's not one of those people from high school where 10 years goes by and somebody says, hey, whatever happened to Erin? Nobody has to ask that about Erin. Erin was over here at that fundraiser. She was coaching cheerleading over there. She was showing up at the football game. She's on social media, sharing updates about her life, her beliefs, what's happening around town, supporting other people's stories. She had her career. She's done side hustles. She had her family, her marriage. She was checking in on her dad and Cleveland Browns gear, even though that team has certainly tested the limits of unconditional love, right? But she was a wife. She was a mom, a stepmom, a daughter, a sister, a friend. And if she heard you were back in town, you might even get a message saying, hey, meet me at McDonald's parking lot. I've got to run through there anyway and grab some coffees. And I want a hug. Because apparently when you're from a small town, McDonald's parking lots counts as a reunion venue, right? And if you were ever going through something she understood, you didn't necessarily have to ask Erin to be there for you because she was already there, calling, checking in, connecting, helping, showing up with her bubbly self. I think we'd all agree that bubbly was a good word for Erin. She didn't show up to drain a conversation or drain a room. She came to pour into it. That's Erin. And that's how she chose to live. And I'm using that word chose on purpose. She has a tremendous ability to hold everything in her own life and somehow still have room to hold space for everyone else's. That was truly a gift of hers, her gift. And maybe that's one of the first things that her life has made me notice this week, that maybe living has its own personal look. Maybe it doesn't look the same on everybody. Like Erin's look, it was broad, expansive, huge, social, visible, generous, just everywhere. But I didn't feel like she was showing up everywhere because everyone demanded it from her or that there was this approval addiction. She genuinely wanted to participate that way. She showed up in the look that belonged to her. And even if you have absolutely no idea who Erin is, you know an Erin who does life big and plenty. Or maybe you know somebody whose idea of living has an entirely different look to it. And I think that's worth asking ourselves, what does living look like in my look? Not how am I supposed to live? Not what does everybody else think I should be doing at this point in my life? Not what does a successful life look like online, but like also not what your mom thinks, your boss, your spouse, your hometown, your church. What does being fully here look like as you? Obviously, Erin's been on my mind and my heart since we got the news. I've dreamt about her, thinking about her when I'm awake, go back to sleep, dream about her again. My stomach's been a mess. And honestly, I don't even know really what I'm feeling because, gosh, loss and grief, it's weird. And it doesn't look the same on everybody. God knows I've had enough loss in my life that grief doesn't even always arrive looking the way I expect it to on me. It's all different. Sometimes it's tears. Sometimes it's a knot in your stomach. Sometimes it's dreaming all night. It's sometimes reaching out to friends you haven't talked to in a while. And sometimes, apparently, it's grabbing a pen and some paper and saying, okay, what's this big life moment going to teach me? Because we gotta put this somewhere, right? We've got to navigate through it. We can't go around it. But I think I think the question that just keeps looping in my mind, and I know I'm not the only one, but gosh, it's just, what are we waiting for? Really, what are we waiting for? I just keep feeling that on repeat. And actually, gosh, that reminds me of a conversation I had with a medium years ago. And when, you know what, I'm gonna share this, and you can hold this spiritually, you can hold it metaphorically. Like, you can even just roll your eyes and just borrow this idea for 5 minutes if you want. But basically, she said something that she wished and lost that more people understood is that for somebody to get from this life to the other side, there has to be a death story. Something happens. There's a moment. Sometimes there's a sequence of events. There's a story that explains how this human life ended. And gosh, especially when someone passes so suddenly like this, we can so easily get stuck inside that story. It's just over and over. What happened? When? How? Who knew? Who was there? What happened next? And of course we do that. Our brains are just trying to understand something that feels impossible to understand. But what stayed with me from that conversation with her was that the death story is usually just such a tiny piece of the whole life story. Like, Erin, she had 45 years here. 45 years of being Erin. And naturally, we don't want the smallest story, the story surrounding her passing, to become bigger than the 45 years she lived before it. The ending wasn't her life. As much shock as we have on the ending, it's her whole life that she poured into. That is her story. We all want that for our people, right? When we lose someone, and gosh, just so easy to hear and read and sit with this thing that we all say, they were taken too soon. And God, of course this feels too soon. 45? She has a young daughter, a husband, siblings. Her dad is still here. Friends, a whole community that assumed there would be more Erin. Gosh, there should have been more. Just more ordinary days, more posts from her, more football games, more phone calls, more, gosh, more random McDonald's parking lot hugs, more moments that nobody would have necessarily called precious because they were just an ordinary day, a random Tuesday. So, yes, of course, our minds go towards everything she didn't get to do, all the years that didn't happen, all the things she won't see, all the moments that were supposed to still be ahead of her. Oh, gosh, that can swallow us up, right? But while I was thinking of all that, gosh, I kind of felt this like the snapback, like turning my head in the opposite direction. Like, wait, but what was she in the middle of? And I started writing this list. She was mid motherhood, mid marriage, mid friendship, mid helping somebody, mid cheer stuff. Heck, mid countdown to football season, mid side hustle, mid opinion, mid post, mid loving her people, mid showing up. She was mid life. And I don't mean midlife as in an age bracket. I mean mid living. She was in it. She wasn't sitting on the sidelines. She was in the fucking game of life. Wow. And I think just writing that list became like this, opening my mind and opening my lungs for breathing room, because I feel like I was being shown that an unfinished life is not necessarily an unlived life. Whew, those are not the same thing. Sometimes when somebody leaves young, our grief becomes so focused on everything unfinished that we accidentally start describing their whole life as being incomplete. And that's not fair. Look at her. She lived. And honestly, good for you, girl. Good for you. Gosh, this actually takes me back to the beginning of this podcast. You remember where I was sharing that front porch moment where I said, we think we're living, but we're only alive. And this week, I feel like Erin's life has made me hear my own sentence differently. Because some of us are exhausted, right? Like our lives, we're exhausted on a daily basis just trying to survive the lifestyles we've built. We're so busy keeping up with everything that we barely have enough energy left to even experience life in the present. And then there's some of us, me, who are, I guess, going back on Erin not being a sidelines person, but there's some of us who are waiting on the sidelines. We're planning, perfecting, thinking, researching, getting ready. Hell, getting ready to get ready. It's like we're basically holding our life out in front of ourselves, saying, okay, I'm going to start living once I figure out what the hell I'm doing. And then I look at Erin. She wasn't just alive. She was living at her full capacity, actively participating. Gosh, what are we waiting for? And that actually makes me think of this dream I had. This was probably 6-8 months ago, and my sister was in it. She was showing me something, and you know how dreams are really weird. But stick with me. I was inside this oddly shaped container. Like it had a different like pathways and rooms in it. It was not a cage, but I don't know, it was a container. It was built out of all these different panels, but I could see out of it. Kind of reminds me of those little magnetic panels that you can put together and build things out of. It was kind of like that. But so I'm in the container, and my sister was showing me that any panel I open could be a door for me to come out of and kind of leap into my next adventure or my next calling. And I'm looking around like, well, I don't know which one I'm supposed to choose. And she's basically like, just open one and see what happens. And so I did. And so I opened one panel, and what was really cool, okay, I told you dreams are weird, right? What was really cool was the second I opened it, then the whole container, the environment, it like rearranged itself to support me going out that panel or that door. Everything literally adjusted around the choice that I had just made. Like life was saying, okay, this is the one you pick. We can work with this. And then in it, I was like, oh, okay, I can go this way. But then I didn't. I closed it. Like I looked like I was gonna jump. I was crouched down, but then I would just close it. I'm like, okay, well, I'm gonna open up a different one. So I would open up a different panel, and everything would rearrange again in a different way, but it was still possible. Like there was no wrong way, and I was still supported. The environment supported it, the container supported it, so it worked also. But then I wouldn't go through that one either. So it was like another panel, the same thing. Every panel I opened could become the door, and every direction was somehow met with possibility, approval, support, all of it. But gosh, it's super embarrassing, honestly, because like I said, the entire time I was ready, I had options, the door was open to go, everything around it had adjusted, and then I just never freaking jumped. And then I woke up from that dream. Like I'm still in the container. I didn't even take a leap. And to this day, I'm still kind of laughing at myself because I do have a lot of ideas. I have so many ideas. I research them, I entertain them, I talk about them, I imagine them. I'm like, maybe I'll write a book. Maybe I'll speak more. Maybe I start having public conversations. Maybe I get invited into bigger conversations out there. This little podcast here, maybe these ideas eventually turn into visual stories or short films. Maybe this podcast is just the beginning. Maybe it's just where my brain gets the microphone, and then eventually the ideas and philosophies grow legs someday. I can imagine a dozen directions this could go. But here I am. Instead of choosing one, I just open another panel. Ooh, this could work. Close it. Another one. Ooh, that'd be cool. Meanwhile, I'm still in this squatted position, getting ready to jump, and then not. And I don't even know why. Actually, I do know why. And now that I'm sitting here looking out this window and thinking about it, now it sounds even more ridiculous. So ridiculous that I just have to say it out loud for my own self. I realize one reason I do this is because I'm afraid of wasting time, right? Have you heard the quote that time spent in one place is time away from another? That gets me, obviously, because what if I spend 2 years going down one path and then I change my mind? Did I waste 2 years? What if I choose one thing and then discover I would have liked something else more? What if I put all this energy here and then wish I would have put it over there? What if I commit to something and then evolve as something different? What if I choose the wrong door? All these things, okay? And so I mirror myself. I'm afraid to choose because I don't want to waste time. Yet here I am wasting time while I'm waiting to choose. That makes a shit ton of sense, doesn't it? What am I doing? What am I doing? What am I waiting for? Gosh. I'm not saying planning is bad. Research isn't bad. Sitting with something isn't bad. Sometimes not moving is absolutely the right move. I've talked about this sabbatical I've been on since losing my sister. I've lived through seasons where stopping was the most alive thing I could have done for myself. But geesh, maybe getting ready is supposed to be more of a moment than a season. Like that we use preparation as a place to visit, not where we freaking move in. Because, gosh, what a week. Listen, I don't want my last sentence someday to be, well, I was just about to dot dot dot. I was just about to start writing. I was just about to tell them. I was just about to book it. I was just about to try. I was just about to speak up. Just about to live differently. Just about to get ready to finally get ready. God, literally. God, please don't take me while I'm getting ready to get ready. I mean, obviously I do not control when my time comes. That's the whole point, right? And this week I'm realizing, which I'm even hesitating on saying this out loud, but I think I'm realizing that I don't think I want to finish everything before the end of my life anymore. Hear me out. Hear me out. I used to think that the dream was, or the goal was, to get to the end of the bucket list, right? Every box checked, done, complete, nothing left. But now, as I'm reflecting on this life that was lived, that was in full participation and full capacity, I think that I hope it's not all finished for me. I hope I'm still adding things when it's my time. I hope I'm still curious, still have places I want to go, still have things I want to make, still have more conversations lined up, still coming up with dumb little ideas that I want to try. I hope there's always more life pulling on me. Does that make sense? So maybe I don't want to dive finish. Maybe I want to go while I'm still in action, still trying, still doing. I don't mean struggling. I don't mean hustling. I don't mean clawing my way towards some accomplishment until the final second. I mean, trying at life, participating at life, being in it. Are you feeling me on this? Because I'm even thinking about this in a broader light for everyone, for the person who has spent years afraid to speak up. I hope you start saying what you mean so freely and so often that whenever your time comes, there will still be things left to say because it's all still in action. And for the person who's gotten into an imagination block or just kind of has shut down their imagination, I hope you start creating so abundantly that there were still ideas coming. And for the person afraid to explore out of their comfort zone, I hope you become so willing and so addicted to first time that we're still places that we're calling your name. And for the person afraid to be seen, afraid to come out of their shell, I hope you start showing up in every color and every vision that belongs to you at your full capacity. Gosh, and I'm even thinking like for the person waiting until they're finally ready, I hope the word almost stops becoming our permanent address. Whew, damn. And I'm not saying that we need to turn life into some giant everyday adventure. That would be exhausting, right? Participation, it can be the big things. It can be take the trip, start the thing, apply, leave, say yes, say no, risk looking stupid, open the panel, jump. But participation can also look ridiculously ordinary and still be huge. Like, call that somebody, make dinner with the music on, go to the football game, meet somebody in a McDonald's parking lot for a hug, make something that nobody has asked you to make, dance, take the freaking nap simply because you want to. Maybe color, sing, just do something that has absolutely no value other than the fact that you wanted to. Like, for example, I still get an urge to do a cartwheel whenever I see like a big yard or a big stretch of grass. I'm serious. I am a grown ass woman. But if I see a beautiful yard or even a room with enough open floor space, some weird primal little part of me goes, I could totally throw my body in a circle right there. And why? Why, right? No idea. It's not like there's a return on investment if I did that. No. Nobody gets paid for these ordinary things. Nothing gets optimized. No one is impressed because, oh, she decided to take a nap or because she's coloring in a page. And let's be real here. At my age, there could actually be medical consequences if I throw my body in that cartwheel. But for half a second, my body sees an open space, grounds in it, and remembers, oh, yeah, I exist. I'm here. So, yeah, maybe that counts too. Yeah. But at the same time, please, let's not turn this into another freaking life assignment because that would so be us also, right? Like, okay, everybody, new expectation. You are now required to live fully. Here are the 17 daily habits to do so. No. No. And because Erin's life, the picture she painted for her life, the picture she created, she chose that to be her life. That's hers. And that's what makes hers beautiful. So maybe the question isn't am I doing enough? Actually, I know that's not the question for us this week. Maybe it's am I participating in my life in my colorful ways at my capacity that is actually mine. We all know just because somebody can be everywhere, that doesn't mean that they're present. And somebody else can live an incredibly quiet life and be fully, deeply inside of it. My point is that it's not about visibility. It isn't about being social. It isn't about sharing your life publicly. It's about, I don't know, like self-directed participation. Am I here because I chose to be here? Does this feel like mine? Am I withholding parts of myself while I wait for permission or wait for the thumbs up go ahead? Am I disappearing from my own life simply because I haven't figured out what my life is supposed to become yet? Obviously that last one is mine. Because, and you've heard me talk about this, since stepping away from the work I used to do, I've spent a lot of time not knowing what's coming next. And oddly enough, this podcast has become a place where I can talk from inside that uncertainty, wander through perspectives, ask life questions. I can pace around that container with a little microphone at my fingertips. I can open panels. I can look outside. I can talk about what I see. And honestly, even just explaining this, I love doing this. When I ask myself right now what I want to spend my life doing, I kind of already am. I want to think, talk, create, ask life better questions, find language for things people feel but haven't been able to give it words or put a name on it yet. I want to have conversations that make somebody go, holy shit, yes, that. I want these ideas to travel farther. I want bigger conversations to come out of this, bigger rooms, bigger ways to create. And for me, maybe I don't have to know exactly what that job title or description becomes. Actually, maybe I don't even need to know which panel is the forever panel. Maybe I just need to stop acting like every door comes with some lifetime contract that I have to commit to. Damn. Maybe it doesn't have to be that serious. Maybe changing my mind later doesn't mean I've wasted the time. We just talked about that in the last episode, right? I've loved careers that I've eventually left. I've loved chapters that ended. I've been versions of Jen that I'm not anymore. Those years still counted. Those versions of me still live. So maybe choosing one door doesn't erase all the other doors. Maybe it simply gives me somewhere new to stand, a new view, a new perspective, a new outlook. Which brings me back to Erin, because when I think about her, the things I keep remembering aren't the giant bucket list adventure accomplishments. They're the ordinary. She was there. She called. She checked in. She coached. She showed up. She posted. She helped. She loved her people. She participated in the life she had. She was in it. And I think that's why losing her is changing us so much this week. Not because her death is teaching us how she would have lived. She already showed us how she chose to live long before she passed. But what's actually going on is her life, not her death, her life is asking the rest of us, how do you want to live? And yeah, I think generally speaking, maybe we do spend too much time trying to determine what the quote right life is, which would only mean that we're not spending enough time actually inhabiting the one that keeps asking us to participate into it. Maybe we don't need to get to the end with everything resolved. Maybe there should still be another sentence, another idea, another trip, another love, another ridiculous side project, another thing we would have changed our minds about, another patch of grass worth cartwheeling across. Maybe maybe unfinished isn't the gut punch we think it is. Maybe unfinished is what a living life looks like. Wow. Just want to sit with that for a moment. As I'm sitting with that, I keep seeing that that dream I had, those panels. But you know what? There's one thing that dream never gave me: certainty. It never lit up one panel and said, "This one, Jen, this is the correct door." But instead, it kept showing me, this could work, that'll work too. It all works. Yet there I was, getting ready to get ready and not jumping, waiting for the one thing that the dream refused to give me, that certainty. But maybe that was the point. Maybe life doesn't always rearrange itself before we decide. Maybe sometimes we move and then things start moving with us. Like there's not a perfect door, it's any door that we finally put our weight into and leap from. Wow, that's it. So, gosh, what are we waiting for? What are we waiting for? Really? What's sitting on your someday list? What have you been getting ready to get ready for? What have you researched enough? What have you thought about enough? And maybe most importantly, what does living look like in your painted picture? Not Aaron's, not mine, yours. I think this week we lost somebody who, she knew her look. She knew her painting. She knew how she wanted to do this life. She had capacity. She had the energy. She had opinions. She had people. And God, she showed up for them. She participated. And when her time came, she was right in the middle of every way she wanted to live. Mid-life, mid-living. Gosh, and there's just something strangely soothing to me about seeing her in that way. Good for you, girl. That doesn't make losing her okay. God, I wish there was more years. I wish her family got more Aaron. I wish her daughter got more mom. I wish all of us got more Aaron. Oof, but here's that snapback again. But I'm not going to let her passing become larger in my mind and in my heart than the proof that she was fully here. 45 years. She lived all of them. That's something to admire. So, Aaron, thank you. Thank you for showing up for what you wanted while you were here. Thank you for living loudly enough that in the middle of all of us losing you, we can look at your life and remember to look at our own. Thank you for that. Thank you for reminding us that participation doesn't have to look the same on everybody in order to be beautiful. And gosh, thank you for making me ask myself a question this week that I don't think I'm going to be able to unask. And that is, what are we waiting for? and for those of us still here, maybe we need to get caught in the action. I know that sounds promiscuous. Whatever. Maybe we could stand to get a little more promiscuous with our participation in life, right? Just try some shit, make something, say something, go somewhere, love somebody, change your mind, open a panel, do a cartwheel, be a little ridiculous. Not because this is some YOLO statement, not because we're racing to the end, not even because we need to squeeze every possible experience into however many years we get, but because, shit, we're already here. We're literally already here. I don't want my life to end while I'm getting ready to get ready. And apparently, I've learned I don't even need to finish the list either. I just want there to be proof that I was in it. I was still curious, still creating, still loving, still asking, still moving, still participating. And whenever my time eventually comes, I guess I hope something is still unfinished on the table. Whether it's a sentence, an idea, an adventure, a conversation, something that makes people smile and say, she was still living. And until then, let's stop waiting for some future version of ourselves to finally arrive, for some time to finally show up on the clock, for some break in the calendar, and let's just live this thing. This is it. We're already here. We're already in it. We've got one chance. I know I said this a few episodes ago. We've got one chance to experience what it feels like to live in our human body, our human experience. You get one chance to know what it feels like to be you. Gosh, that's all the way in my soul that I feel this. Let's participate. Let's be the colors of the paint placed on our canvas in the full capacity of however large or small your canvas is. Take up all the space. That space belongs to you. Let's get caught in action. Do you feel that? We're already here. Let's be this. Because after all, we're all just walking each other home.